The chair of the General Certificate of Education Board has been released after spending more than 48 hours in captivity. A correspondent who is in charge of the West region of Cameroon has confirmed that Professor Ivor Leketambo is currently being transported from the West region to the nation's capital. In this newscast, we'll tell you more. Also ahead, for the first time since the start of the refugee crisis in the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon, Paul Atanganji has admitted that Anglophone Cameroonians are fleeing to neighboring Nigeria and challenged chiefs in the northwest region of Cameroon to create an enabling environment to guarantee their safe return. In this newscast as well, we talk about the Constitutional Council, and also in the second part of this newscast, the Constitutional Council that has rejected the petition filed by the Social Democratic Front against the ruling CPDM in the west region of the country. Those are headlines. We shall be right back. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you so much for joining us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. We talked to you earlier about the release of Professor Ivor Leketambo, but before we come back to that, let us take you to the locality of Fontem in the southwest region of Cameroon to talk about the inaccessible nature of the road networks and lack of electricity supply in that part of the country. That are some of the problems faced by the people of Eso-Ata village, that is a subdivision in the southwest region of Cameroon. The paramount ruler has joined his voice to that of the people or his subjects to call on the government's attention to their needs. In this following special report, our reporter Simanjikan Gabriel takes us to the locality of Eso-Ata. His report.
Eso-Ata is one of the villages that makes up the Foreke Aso clan in Fontem subdivision, Lebialem division of the southwest region. Due to the ugly road network, particularly in the rainy season, persons traveling to that part of the country must pass through Chang, and the fastest means of transportation is the commercial motorcycle. But the hilly nature of the village won't allow even the motorbikes or vehicles to get right into the heart of Eso-Ata. Poor road network is amongst a plethora of problems faced by the Eso-Ata village.
Road network which is not the best, because some villages are not connected to the road network. We also have problems of electricity, which is not regular, and it has only ended in some area. It was not yet taken into other areas too here. And we have the other health problem, particularly around the Gens area, where the integrated health center that was created many years ago is not yet effective.
Due to the hilly nature of the village, agriculture takes 99.9% of economic activities, and the crops highly cultivated include cocoyam, coffee, cocoa and palm oil. Meanwhile, the finished product from cassava, gari, is also highly produced. Though lacking in several social amenities, in terms of security, Eso-Ata is safe.
We have asked for a Jandan post since, and we are waiting for the day that will be granted. But apart from that, the village is not all that insecure, because we are very committed people and loyal people, and respect institutions, and respect not only administrative orders but also respect additional orders, trying to make sure that each person takes his responsibility, from the quarter to the villages and to the royal palace here. Each person knows what he intends to do, and because of that, we don't have such problems which are alarming here. We also have some local group that provides, in case there's an emergency, they can intervene to bring peace before informing the palace here, or before informing the administration in Meiji.
Located inside a valley, Eswata is still to enjoy certain social amenities like the supply of electricity and the absence of communication network. The lone health unit in the village lacks several working materials, including specialists.
That is Martin Jikan Gabriel. They're presenting the situation in that locality of Fontem in the southwest region of Cameroon. Now, he was the last to be picked up, but first to regain his freedom. As far as the series of kidnappings in Anglophone Cameroon is concerned, Professor Ivor Leket Tambo's whereabouts has remained unknown for more than 2 days, has been released. The chair of the General Certificate of Education Board was released today after he spent more than 48 hours in captivity. He was picked up. That was in the locality of Alou in the BLM of the southwest region of Cameroon by some yet to be identified individuals. He was heading to the said locality accompanied by some administrative authorities to take part in a ceremony that was aimed at celebrating the nomination or the appointment of Paul Tazong as the Minister Delegate at the Ministry of Economy, Planning and Regional Development. We have information from our correspondent who is in Chang, Leclerc Chakem. He has indicated that Professor Ivor Leket Tambo is on his way from the west region to the nation's capital, Yaoundé. We are still to have official information as far as the situation is concerned. We have our ears on the ground. We would be keeping updated as soon as we are informed. And relating to the recent development, we would be recounting the series of events that led to the kidnapping of the chair of the General Certificate of Education Board. We begin first of all with the atmosphere that reigned in the BLM on that Saturday morning when he was picked up and several other individuals vandalized as a result of vehicles vandalized as a result of the situation in the BLM on Saturday morning. Calm has returned to the BLM. It is more than several hours after the incident occurred. The locality of Alou in Lebialem of the southwest region of Cameroon was almost transformed into a battleground Saturday as students and administrators were heading to that part of the southwest region of the country to take part in the ceremony that was to be chaired by local administrative authorities. Let's have the details in the following report. This was on February 13th in Buea when Professor Ivor Leket Tambo was taking over the command baton as chair of the General Certificate of Education Board following his appointment on January 19th, 2018.
I urge you, as the primary ambassador of this locality, to sensitize your brothers and sisters to go to school so as to emulate your example and even occupy more prestigious positions in the future, knowing fully well that children are not going to school in the BLM.
Ivor Leket Tambo was described by the then Minister of Secondary Education as an educational ambassador to the people of BLM, where there has been massive boycott of classes like other parts of Anglophone Cameroon for more than 17 months. The former Secretary General, the Minister of Secondary Education, was on his way to BLM on Saturday, March 17th, alongside other education and local authorities when he was picked up by unknown individuals. The 67-year-old hails from the BLM division of the Southwest region. He is the third official from the English-speaking part of Cameroon kidnapped in less than 2 months. Before his disappearance, the government has been multiplying strategies to uncover the whereabouts of the Dio for Batibo subdivision, who hails from Mundemba, Indian, and the delegate of social affairs, who is a native of Belu in Boyo division of the Northwest region of Cameroon. And that was the situation. We now continue to talk about the kidnapping of Professor Ivor Leket Tambo. The government reportedly paid a ransom to secure his release this Monday, the 19th of March, more than 48 hours after he was picked up in the locality of Lebialem in the southwest region of Cameroon on that fateful Saturday morning. It was a chaotic atmosphere. There was equally a gun battle in that part of the country, a difficult situation for reporters who were even on the ground, as we see in the following report. This is what it took for the survivors of the gun battle in Alou subdivision when the chair of the General Certificate of Education Board was being picked up. Reporters and some civilians had to escape the gunshot through the bushes. This Saturday morning, dozens of students had left the University of Chang in the West region to take part in the ceremony of gratitude following the nomination of Paul Tazong as Minister Delegate at the Ministry of Economy, Planning and Regional Development. The convoy, in which was Professor Ivor Leketambo, was attacked here by unknown individuals and the vehicles destroyed. The delegate of livestock was shot, the mayor of Wabani attacked, and the GC Botche kidnapped alongside some of his in-laws. This driver says that the pro-independence fighters in Anglophone Cameroon were behind the attack. At press time, the whereabouts of Professor Ivor Leketambo was unknown. The residence of Paul Tazong in Lebialem was set ablaze, and several localities in that part of the southwest region militarized. And good news for the ruling CPDM political party in the West region of Cameroon after the Constitutional Council today rejected the petition of the Social Democratic Front against the CPDM list of candidates in that part of Cameroon. The petition filed by Paul Chachuang was nullified by the highest jurisdiction in Cameroon after it was confirmed during today's hearing that the candidate whose existence was being contested is alive. And the traditional ruler, he is a traditional ruler in the West region of Cameroon. Teno Deto Zhang was the name described by the Social Democratic Front as fictitious. Attempts by the SDF to discredit the list of the Social Democratic Front, or the CPDM rather, were abortive. The legal team of the Social Democratic Front questioned the regularity of the list of candidates of the governing CPDM political party thereafter in the West region of Cameroon, and equally cited the non-respect of the Section 166 of the country's electoral code. But the list of the CPDM succeeded to sail through. 5 political parties are so far taking part in the senatorials in the West region. They are the Social Democratic Front, the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, the CDU of Adamon Damjoya, NUDP, and the UMS political parties. On to something else. We now talk about the visit of Paul Atanganji in the northwest region of Cameroon that has been described, or he has described himself as bearer of the message of peace from the head of state to the people of Bamenda. The Minister of Territorial Administration called on traditional rulers to play their role in ensuring that peace returns to Anglophone Cameroon. It told scores of members of NOWEFO in a meeting in Bamenda to fish out perpetrators of atrocities and create an enabling environment for the safe return of Anglophone Cameroonians in neighboring Nigeria and those that are not in their various villages and localities. The chiefs pledged their support to the government. Their intention was manifested in the symbolic handing over of the peace plan to Paul Atanganji, the Minister of Territorial Administration, that was speaking to our correspondent in Bamenda, Stella. Let's have him in the following excerpt.
I brought a simple message. You see me carrying the peace plan. President Paul Biya mandated me to come and talk to the front. Northwest. He himself that he is conveying a message of peace and unity, and that the funds must collaborate with the administration so that all the disturbances must come to an end. He has a lot of confidence in the funds. He knows that all those who are burning, looting, killing, and destroying public and private properties are the sons and daughters of the victims. That the funds should take their responsibilities as the administration, so that we should advise them that there is no future for those who are burning, looting, and killing. They should come back inside the Republic. If they have differences, we help them to solve their differences. That is the main message. It's a message of peace and responsibility, because the state has the responsibility to protect people and their property. So it's, and the funds have mandated me again to go and tell the head of state that they have accepted the message. They will work for peace and unity. And even that the children who are in the bushes, they will tell them to come back and work for the interest of the nation. Many security.
And it should be noted that clergymen in Bamenda described their exchange with the Minister of Territorial Administration as satisfactory. They were urged to pray for peace in the two Anglophone regions of the country hit by socio-political unrest for more than 1 year now. One of the clergymen that discussed with the Minister of Territorial Administration is the Auxiliary Bishop of Bamenda, Reverend Father Michael Bibi. He was speaking to our correspondent in Bamenda. Let's hear him in the following excerpt.
We've had a discussion with him, and he has said in his Northwest region he's come for one thing, to ask us to pray that peace should return back to the Northwest region, and that his wishes is that our brothers and sisters who for one reason or the other have left their homes and some of them are in the neighboring countries, that they should all come back so that we can see how we can work towards having a lasting peace in our country. Our prayer and wishes that things should come back to normal, and that the difficulties that we are going through in the North and Southwest region should be resolved. Yes, one of the proposals that we made to him, we actually called on him to talk with the head of state so that there can actually be that inclusive dialogue that we have all been talking about. That even if you have your children who are secessionists, your children who are terrorists, they are still your children. And that we can be able to have concrete ways in which we can bring everybody to the table, find out what the difficulties and grievances are. The ones that we can handle, we handle. The ones that we cannot handle immediately, we can postpone to another time.
Those people who are trying to...
That is the Auxiliary Bishop of Bamenda. They're prescribing genuine dialogue as the way out of the current socio-political crisis rocking the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon. Now, the problems faced by teachers and students of GCHS Makak, it is a locality in the Nyong-Ankele division of the Central region of Cameroon, have been presented to the Senior Divisional Officer for Nyong-Ankele division. It was during an open door day, as our reporter Emerencia Konlak tells us in the following report.
Officials of the Government Technical High School, Makak, in the Nyong-Ankele division, on the occasion of this open door day, cited some of the challenges plaguing the institution. The principal of the institution, in his address, expressed the need for the school to be furnished with updated equipment. According to him, the equipment at the disposal of the students is slowing down their output. Another problem raised by the principal and the students of the Government Technical High School Makak is constant power cut. During this open door day, the over 400 students exhibited their know-how in the production of chairs, tables, beds, dresses and other gadgets. The SDO for Nyong-Ankele division praised the efforts of the students and prescribed continuous hard work. The open door day is an annual tradition respected in the institution, during which talents are projected to the outside world.
And that brings us to the end of this first segment of the news. Up next is Talking Point. Stay with us. Good evening to you once again, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you for joining us in this second segment of the news. We have as guest an actor of the civil society, Mr. Davison De Ate. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining us tonight on Talking Point.
Good evening,
We thank you so much as well. We are glad to have you. We are going to begin right away with the rejection of the petition that was filed by the Social Democratic Front at the Constitutional Council. Are you taken by surprise following the decision of the council today in Yaoundé?
Not really. I'm not taken by surprise. I'm only glad that they had a chance to put in their opposition to the list, and that this was examined.
So you saw it coming, the result of today?
Obviously.
Many had in mind that postponing the verdict for today meant that there were somehow some chances for the Social Democratic Front.
I think it's all part of the game. In any case, they gave hope to the opposition. What I would advise the opposition, especially the SDF, to do is not to think of knocking out the the CPDM on technicalities. They rather to work hard on the ground. I think they have the support. It's a question of getting their supporters not to have any apathy and rather go on and vote for them. But if they just wait for errors that CPDM might make, or UNDP or any other party to climb, that's not going to do it.
Some observers have it that the chances might be very, very slim, as I can put it. Those were the words of some critics. Might be slim for the Social Democratic Front, given that the CPDM is running for the senatorials across the 10 regions of Cameroon.
I
Do
think
you have a similar view?
I have a similar view. I think they are right. I think CPDM is out to carry the day, and if possibly carry the day 100%.
How would it be like having a Senate or CPDM?
It wouldn't make any difference because
even though we are still to have the results or
yes,
the outcome.
It wouldn't make any difference because they've always had this what some of termed an obese majority, and have always had the way. There's only a semblance of opposition really in this country, even when they oppose and when they are right in their opposition.
But for
they never get their way.
Democracy,
Yeah, to make the semblance, to make it look like there is. The CPM doesn't really have that support in the country. You can be sure of that. When you talk to people in the markets, when you talk to people on the roads, they don't have that much support. But they know the mechanism to have the representatives all appear CPDM. Nobody is thinking CPDM support or that outing like they used to. But those who are supposed to now go out and vote, over the years, they have been worn out by poor elections, poor counting, the fact that everybody in a responsible position is supposed to be a CPDM member one way or the other, whether it's the councillors or whether it's the governors, the DOs, and the thing is just heavily weighted against the opposition.
So you think that even though the CPDM political party has a good number of councillors across the national territory, there could be chances for the SDF if they play their role properly on the ground as far as campaigns are concerned? Unless
the CPDM decide to let them have some seats like they did the last time, there's no chance. I won't be surprised if they got virtually
It was only possible when the files of the CPDM were rejected in the Adama one, also in the West regions.
Exactly.
But it's not the case this time.
It's not the case this time because they virtually control so many councils, and if it's the councillors voting, unless they have been given some kind of instructions, look, here we want 1 or 2 SDF or UNDP, so you vote like this, you vote like that, which I'm sure they are never that kind to do. I am not.
Now the senatorial elections, we have just about 1 week to go. Yeah. It's going to be this Sunday, the 25th of March 2018. Only the outcome will tell, Mr. Davison D. Ate. Another issue at hand is the visit of the Minister of Territorial Administration to the Northwest region, his hometown. It is the first time he's visiting since he became Minister of Territorial Administration in Cameroon. Globally, what could be your evaluation? He held talks with businessmen, chiefs, especially members of NOWEFU, actors of the civil society, and even opposition leaders and administrators. What could be your evaluation after his tour in the Northwest region?
My evaluation is positive, given the circumstances, given the person. But it also goes back to the fact that the head of state doesn't understand the Anglophone. If he does understand them, he doesn't love them, because of all the Anglophones that could have been chosen to head this ministry, Atanga Paul Nji is the least qualified. Maybe the president in their mutual love for each other, said, okay, you said there's no problem there, go and find out if there's a problem there.
He was welcomed by the people, chiefs,
there's a lot of
pretense. We're very satisfied with the exchange with the Minister of Territorial Administration.
There's a lot of pretense. And then these people who are named, these people whose daily bread depends on the establishment, depends on the one man, they have no choice. And the people their anger has not got to that point where they would say, look, if you support this, you are going to get this. It's getting to it, and we're beginning to see it largely. So all the people are doing is, okay, I'll support him, I'll get my whatever is coming to me. And that's why you see chiefs, all sorts of people, they're fighting, they're crawling to become senators, to be seen in the camera supporting Atanganji, because at the end of the day, you in town who is opposed and who think that's not right, what would you have to give these chiefs? At the end of the day, they need fuel for their cars, they need big cars.
They told the chiefs that they have the role to bring peace and security in their respective localities.
And
they are like the people's representatives in all their villages.
That is what they are. That is what they are considered to be. But how do you get this peace? Through dialogue, through talking to each other, through listening to what the people want. We're in a democracy. A democracy, it's a rule by the people, for the people, and of the people. It is not the way the French understand it, where once a leader, a president has been elected, he just passes out decrees, gives us edicts, and people just follow. It is clear that the Anglophone man in this country, that is people west of the Mongo, want a participative democracy where we discuss things. If we discuss things and they want things to go the way it is now, I'm sure everybody will line up. The chiefs will be the first to tell the people that, look, this is what has been decided, this is what has been voted. But when you come and tell them that this is what has been ordered from Yaoundé, when they've done this for 50 years and everybody has seen that it has not worked, that is not to their benefit, that they are suffering, that they are being maltreated, they are being marginalized, and even when they complain, they are sent soldiers to kick, imprison, maim, rape, and do all sorts of things. It's not going to work. The problem is very simple. Listen to the people.
Like the auxiliary bishop of Bamenda indicated that the dialogue should be inclusive,
including
completely all the actors and even the extremists. Let all the voices be heard. Do you think that the government of Cameroon has this view as far as the concept or the much talked about dialogue is concerned?
No, they don't have this view. They're not going to have it so long as we have the present setup. The present dispensation doesn't allow for it. Their only belief is force. Is you obey or you walk. And I'm afraid, I don't want to be a doomsayer, but I think we're in for a long, rough time.
Another interesting aspect of his visit to Bamenda, for the first time that we are hearing an administrator in Cameroon, government minister, talking about the refugee crisis and those that have been displaced from their various villages, localities, towns to other safer localities or out of the country. What do you have to say about that?
Well, it's high time. It's high time. The refugees have been there. They've been making as if they're not there. When the last minister went to Nigeria, he went instead to see how he could capture a handful of
asylum seekers.
What good was that? It made completely as if they were in there. But now it is standing in their faces. It's coming through the United Nations. It's coming from other international bodies. And
should it just end only at the level of making declarations? I mean, the situation of Anglophone refugees that we've seen them in need of food, they'll
be forced to do much more. They will not do it voluntarily. They will not do it willingly. But that's they have no choice.
Unfortunately, just your view about the disappearance of the GC Boche. What do you have to say about that? The third time that an official is being picked up.
I think it's a sad way. It's a sad way the struggle is going, capturing people, depriving them of their families, and so on. I'm happy in this case it has ended up this way, but we could stop this before it gets worse. But the way things are going,
who should stop that?
The government. They should engage in dialogue. It was dialogue going on. Nobody will support these guys. They live in societies, they live in communities. The people of those communities know them. They support them. They are happy with what they are doing. That is the truth.
Thank you so much, Mr. Davison Ade, for joining us tonight on Talking Point.
Thank you.
We wish to have you some other time again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. To our viewers, it was equally a pleasure having you with us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. Wishing you a blessed stay in the company of our programs. Until we meet again, goodbye.